young people, our participation in politics is very critical. Welcome to the Young Voices with me, McJulian Peggy, and today we are going to look at the role of the young people in politics. With me is Francis Xavier, karibu sana, and Wendy Aura. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just to start off our interview, are we all voters, registered voters?
Yes.
Why are you a voter?
I'm a voter because it's my democratic right to be able to choose the leader that I find most suitable. Yes, that's why I'm a voter.
Okay. Why are you a voter?
I think I'll second that because it's a right. It's a need by the Constitution to vote after 18 years, and also God told us to choose our leaders. So I think it's also like a biblical need to choose who you want to rule you.
Okay, so to start off our interview, this syndrome of mtu wetu in politics, it has been there throughout. And now you get nowadays, ni kama vitu zimebadilika, things are different on the ground. Are we experiencing a revolution in politics?
Yes. I do agree that there's a revolution that is on its way. Change is inevitable. And the moment you see on the ground, a lot of people are starting to embrace the culture of supporting someone who will help them financially to overcome their poverty. They support that person. So basically, there's this unifying factor that has come about, which is poverty. A lot of people have noticed that just because you are from a particular tribe, it doesn't help your situation. Just because you selected someone out of mtu wetu mentality, it doesn't help you. That's why you see a lot of people right now are trying to look for someone who can uplift them financially in terms of creating jobs and empowering their hustle. So yes, that's why the other day you also had youths from Kisumu. You can hear them saying, "Hatutaki kitendawili, tunataka pikipiki." You see, so when you see comments like that, when you come to Central Province, you see a lot of people on the ground are ready to oppose what Uhuru might be saying, like saying we don't have a political debt. But you see the young people saying, no, we'll choose who we'll support when it comes to 2022, not like how it was in the past. So yes.
According to you,
on that, again, I think now looking at another perspective, Kenya, we still so much into ethnicity, and we are still lining up to political lineups because of ethnic backgrounds. Now, for example, I think because the people believe that if we have a president who come from our community, then our roads will be developed, we'll have food, we'll have healthcare. So that's what Kenyans are made to believe. And the environment we are living in, the economic times where it's so hard, you'll want someone who will be able to speak on your behalf directly. And I think we've also failed to look at representation at the top level. And that's one major cause of, let me call it conflict and violence during and after elections, because people believe if we are not in the executive, then we are not represented. And most of the executive, if you look at how they line up, you find they look at, if you are taking a Luo for president, then the vice president will have to look for Kalenjin. So we are more into the community and ethnical lineup rather than what, let me talk about the track record of the leaders. So if you look at it that way, then we are still not revolutionized. But if you look at how he's putting it, we've had people coming out to vote because they believe that person can deliver. And that was not something that happened. We've had youths who've been voted because young people have supported them. And before, we've been having older people, the older generation coming to power because they can easily influence, convince, and all that. So it's 50-50 for me. We are still backward, but at the same time, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you've mentioned something, and he has also mentioned that nowadays people are voting people who can help them. But now I don't understand why politics have this tendency of separating us from each other. You get that Luos, Hawapatani, and Kalenjins, or something like that. Why politics? Why not agriculture? Why not education? Why politics?
It's so unfortunate. I think it traces back to our history. If you look at our history, we had the first president coming from the Kikuyus, then the next one from Kalenjin. So people also look at the history and they're like, this Kenya is no, when are we going to lead Kenya? So it also like contribute to the whole division. And you find during we have early warnings during before elections, during the campaigns. You find people who are from another ethnic background. They start moving to their communities because they feel elections ikikuja, the campaigns, there'll be a lot of tension. So it has been something that has been happening because of history, the past elections. And now it has become like early warnings. When campaigns start, I go back to my village because I believe I'm not safe wherever I am. So also the historical background still has a major contribution.
Yeah, Xavier, on that note, are we ready to change the history, like tuachane na mambo ya politics? If we are Kenyans, we are Kenyans.
Yes, I think we are almost okay. We are not yet there, but we are on the way there. Because right now a lot of us have started realizing, you see, the opportunities our parents had are not the same like the ones that we have. You see, our parents had more opportunities. There were very few doctors that time. There were very few engineers that time. The education had just come into Kenya and people are now graduating from the universities. But you see, right now, education is everywhere. Everyone is a graduate. Everyone is learned, but there are no jobs. So you see, a lot now we are able to think and realize that it's no longer about whether I come from this tribe or not. It's about where will I get this opportunity to put food on my table. So there's this group of learned, jobless youths who have discovered the only thing that can help them be rich, the only thing that can help them be successful in life is by getting an environment whereby they can get those opportunities. And the only way they can create that opportunity is by electing someone who can help them.
Yeah, we are youths, right?
Yeah.
And you being in politics, do you feel that youths, the young people of Kenya, are informed with what is happening in political arena?
Partly no. We are still, if you look at now a typical youth, most of us, we don't really take time to analyze what's really happening. For example, right now, if you talk about Maraga dissolving the parliament, someone won't understand why, or someone won't understand the importance of the two-third gender rule. But most of us as young people will start aligning ourselves to our political leaders. You'll find, if I'll just use a reality, if I'm for Raila, whatever Raila says, I'll align to that. If I'm for, let's say, President Uhuru, whatever he says. So I think the young people have not taken time to really analyze what's really happening, but they are more swayed by what our leaders will come and speak to us. They want to hear what's good to our ears, but they don't take their time to really understand the depth and the impact on that.
On that note, because it's very evident that when these youths, they're very quick to comment, very quick to criticize, and the same people who wake up very early to go vote in the same leaders. Why? Xavier, why?
Now, I think the problem comes about due to the lazy, quick money mentality that a lot of youths have it. Like, you see, when elections are not near, when you decide to call for a demonstration, it's very hard for you to see a lot of youth standing up unless you have paid them. It's very hard. We have this, we don't have this passion that we need to save this country for the sake of our future. We only think of this temporary satisfaction which entails some little money that can make us go and protest. So basically I can say it's all about our attitudes as youths. There's a good number of us who are lazy. There's a good number of us who don't look at the bigger picture behind what is happening at our country. That's why you'll find that a youth will not, when you call for a protest, he will not turn up. A youth will not choose someone based on accountability. A youth will be used to create violence. They're not thinking of the bigger picture whereby they can refuse all of these negative influences from the politicians for the sake of choosing someone who can really help them achieve the bigger picture, which is success.
Just to add on that, I think also the economy, the environment is not really friendly for the youth, because as a young person, I'll vote in someone who will be able to maybe give me capital to start my business. I'll vote you for that. But to just come and maybe send your manifestos, and when you are elected, I won't ever see you again, maybe after 5 years. So most of them, they're like, wacha nichukue tu, unaona. For that, if it can sustain me for now, there are no business, there are no jobs. People are hustling, there are no jobs. People are graduates and they have papers, they don't have jobs. But if you come to me and you can be able to give me 1,000 bob, and that 1,000 someone else didn't give me, I'll be like, this is more valuable than this. So we also have to look at the factors. The youth, they are not running to the politicians because they really want to, or because they're chaotic or what, but because they are even the business environment. We are not giving them the sustainable, the right environment to develop themselves, to sustain themselves, to grow. So when they get a cheaper way, they run with it. But again, we also have youths in Kenya who are really speaking up for others and who are very proactive. We can't all generalize youth as lazy, though we have those who are lazy, but we have youth who have been able to, right now we've had consortiums of youth organizations, they are fighting for something which is rightful. Right now we have Biashara Fund that is tabled to the parliament. We've had youth organizations coming to speak what they want to be included in the Biashara Fund. We've had just a recent campaign, Justice for Every Child. It was the youth who are talking about justice for young people. So we have to also acknowledge that we have youths who are organizing, and I think the problem might be now they have to face now the system that is already there, which is so hard to change in a day. But we have those who are really thirsty for change, but they are not given the opportunity to.
You've mentioned two very important things.
Yeah.
Youths who are used by the politicians and the youths who are stand in for other youths. On that note of politicians using the youth, what is the key role of youths in politics? Because we see in the 2007 elections, most of the youths were the ones who perpetuated the violence which occurred in the country, and they're being used by politicians. What is the key role of the youths in politics? Francis?
I think the key role of youths should be only three. The first one should be demanding for accountability. Demanding for when a politician approaches you or a gathering and says that he or she wants to be the MP or to be a governor, we need to ask him, what are you bringing to the table? What exactly are you going to how are you going to help us? Now, if that person was in office already, what did you do when you're in office that helped us? Demanding accountability. The youth are the ones who are supposed to demand for accountability. And if whoever is responding to those questions does not pass the particular pass mark that he or she should, we shouldn't consider him. Number two is civic education. We should use this opportunity as youths. We are energetic to inform and educate our fellow youths on how we choose the leaders. Inform the old, inform the young, inform our age mates about this. Because it's a lot of youths sometimes make ignorant decisions. They just decide, okay, since Jubilee has fielded a candidate, and Jubilee is the most popular here, they go to a polling, and they just vote. So it's our role as youth to reprimand our fellow youths and tell them, you know what, this guy, he was here and he never did anything. Don't look at the party, look at something else. Look at what he's bringing to the table. Yeah. So basically I can say that is the role of youths and the third one is the most important role of the youths in an election. Voting. No, that is the most voting, going to the ballot box and voting for the right leader. Yes. Over to you.
According to you, what is the role of the youths?
I think youth are also very important in shaping policies, even at political party levels. We have youth leagues, we have women leagues, we have now the mainstream. So when they're given that opportunity to talk about their issues at political level, especially on representation and equal opportunities, they're able to influence the major the major policies, because political parties are now like the vehicle to leadership in Kenya. So another role, they could also be, they're just the change agents that we need. Because if we need a certain change, we can't have that change without our voice being represented. So as a representative of other youths, other young people, they are the voice, they're the people who can talk about what we feel, because they are in our shoe. If you compare, if you were to have decisions made by those who are 80 years or 70 years and above, when they were young people, we were not even born. And the situation at that time was different. At that time, there was no much urban population. We were in the villages, there was a lot of food, we could sustain ourselves, there was peace. But right now, everyone is in the city, everyone is looking for jobs, everyone is learned, everyone has papers. So we have, the youth have to be there to talk for other youths, and they have to be there at the decision-making table.
Okay, those youths who are there to talk on behalf of the other youths, do you think they've done enough? Because we've seen some of the youths coming up with their own political parties, which help in fighting the ill in the country. Do you feel that they've done enough as young people in the leadership?
We can't really put a value or like a measure to what they've done, but I think what the question should be, are we creating more spaces for young people to be there? The question is, because if we have a few already and we are so much on their neck of what have you done, yet they're just there maybe for a year or so.
And actually that leads me to my next point. Do you think that the society is ready to accept the upcoming young people in politics?
Yes, I do agree that, first of all, I would like to respond to that. I will say the youths, the question you asked previously, I will say the youths who are already in power have not done enough. Yes, they have done. There's a good amount of role that they have played, but I can say they have not done enough yet, because there is one group that really helps. Someone like Senator Sakaja. These are young people who are in politics. They have really tried and championed for this revenue distribution bill and successfully managed to defend it for us. But you see, now there are some decisions. For example, when this report came out on the age group of the type of people who are chosen by the president in these corporations, 8 years and above, almost 60%. Now that is where I ask, where are these youthful leaders? Where are these MPs? Yeah, where are these MPs who are supposed to refuse that because they are the ones who vet when the names of these people are brought to parliament? Where are these young MPs to prevent this from happening? Yeah, because you cannot expect someone like Mudi Awori sitting in a board who is 90 years to be able to create an opportunity for the youths.
Yeah, there was a case on was it Mary Wamboi? Yeah. The woman was selected to a board, and the young people they were able to petition, and it was withheld. So I think that's also one thing we need to acknowledge, that young people are also fighting. They're really fighting and organizing for their spaces. And also, if we really want more young people, I think the society ourselves, we are the society. If we are the majority, and we're talking about society, then we need to vote in our young people. Maybe the issue is still back to what he was saying about the handouts. Yeah, because the older people, they have money, they've worked for a long time, they have the money to pour. So when young people get the free, they run with it. But if we were on a level ground where a young person and maybe an older person, I think young people will choose a younger person who understands them better.
To my last question, what informs your decision as a young person to vote in the leader that you prefer? What kind of leadership are you looking for?
So what I would want is a leader who can build more facilities instead of trying to tarmac roads with fluctuated prices. Build a company like this Webuye factory. If it could have been revived, thousands of youth will be employed there. So let's try and create, first of all, job opportunities. Then now you can go to development, you see, so that it can be much easier. Create a way in which youth can access funds like loans. Not like this youth fund which the government talks about. I've ever tried applying for it and it took me until I gave up. Pia walinizungusha hivi, walinizungusha. So bring up a way in which we can access investment. We bring our ideas, what we want to invest in. We prove to you that it can work and just release the money. Like when you see someone like United States, you can see that someone says the first job she got, it was when she was 16. And you're like, how was that possible? Basically, it's all about the system that they put in place. One biggest problem about Kenya is implementing. We know how we can do this, but we cannot. When you look at a country like Rwanda, one of the most cleanest countries, one of the most countries, right now robots are the ones which are handling corona. When you ask them, they say they came to Kenya to look for the policies. They came for benchmarking in Kenya. But Kenya, we don't implement now. That is the problem. We have the policies, but we don't implement. So basically, we just want someone who can implement the right policies for us.
But at the same time, I think when our leaders come to us, they all have very beautiful manifestos. I've never seen a manifesto that... in fact, they will form strategy teams. They will pay people to really work on, because they want to capture our attention. Yeah. So when I think also the issue is failing to deliver on the manifestos. They only come to lure us to vote for them, but years later down the line, they don't deliver. Yeah. For example, right now, we are still waiting for the laptops. Our kids are going to grow up still waiting for the laptops. And yet, that was something that was being talked about like as if like it will be delivered tomorrow. Yeah. Even the stadiums, how many stadiums are we promised? Yeah. And how many are even in progress? Yeah. So I think when you talk about written deliverables, all of them are so catchy and all of them are the best. In fact, they talk about healthcare, they talk about food, the infrastructure, everything that we need. But now the problem is they're only there to take them there. Yeah, so it would be so hard to even judge a leader by what he comes to say. Yeah. I think it is more of maybe track record. If you've been a leader before, people will see. People will always notice what you've done, instead of what you're coming to tell us, because we always listen to the same things.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah, to remedy that, I think what we should do is we should bring something about the law in such manifestos. I would propose that before a leader brings a manifesto to us, that it should be legally binding the moment he or she gets into power, so that the moment you fail to deliver on them, you are supposed to be held accountable. That way, people will be serious in implementing. Also, I think these institutions should be strengthened and be made more independent, because these institutions are the ones which are tasked, something like the DCI. When you look at the judiciary, these are some of the institutions that should help us in this issue of service delivery, because a lot of these people, if they are not delivering service, it means they are stealing the money. So the moment these things like the DCI is independent enough to charge people, the judiciary has enough evidence, and the judges are independent enough to prosecute people, people will work without really much effort. And also the law that legally binds them to what they wrote in the manifesto. These laptops will have been already here.
Okay, guys, we have to end it there, but before we end it, your parting shots.
This is my parting shot. Youths of Kenya, this is our moment to come out of our cocoons of tribalism. Many of us have realized by now that the only thing that unites us is poverty, unemployment, sickness, and other things. I would want us to, as we approach 2022, to hold on to this philosophy of electing someone based on what they bring to the table, specifically on creating more opportunities for us, more jobs for us, and delivering on their manifestos. So that is what I would want us to pick on. Let's unite basically and strictly on the basis of service delivery and creating opportunities. Because by now we have realized that our tribes does not, just because I'm a Luo, just because I'm a Kikuyu, it doesn't bring food to my table. But the most important thing is choosing someone who can implement those policies that can create the environment for me and you to bring food to the table. Thank you.
My parting shot. I think as young people, what we really need is to be able to stand up for each other. We can't continue complaining about poor leadership every 5 years, yet we have a chance every 5 years to choose the right people. And there is no inadequacy in youth running for positions. The problem is us. If we are the majority and we are not giving the opportunities to our own, then there's no way we can expect our own to be represented and be able to talk what we really want. And as a young person, even as a young woman, if I want a position, a leadership position, and I'm ready to be a change agent in the society, if the society can judge me based on my age, as a young person, are you on the side of the society which will judge me, or will you understand that I'm a young person who has the energy and potential to change the country? So I think as young people, we need to stand up, and it's time to stand with our own. Let's give each other opportunities. We have people running. We have young women, many young women across the country who are running. But are we there to support them and give them the platform? So let's not complain when we make wrong decisions, because we have to live with the wrong decision for the next 5 years. So I think it's just it's a challenge for every young person to make the right decision, and not judging by the societal thoughts about being young or being a woman, but we should be the people who are going to think otherwise and give us the opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us on this episode. I hope you've learned a lot from our young politicians. So it's a wrap from us here on the Young Voices. Till next time, ciao.